All right, there he is. There he is. Oh, and by the way, for Richard Hernandez, he says he rants about radio and yet calls the show Big O Radio Show. Just saying. When you're in the car listening to it through the radio, isn't it a radio that you're listening to? Right? And when you listen to a radio station in an app, it's not really a radio anymore. But you want to just deal with semantics, right? You just want to try to be a smart ass, Richard. Some of you, I could tell Richard Hernandez is one of those guys that really enjoys playing with himself. All right. How you doing, my man? You doing good, David?
Yeah, I'm staying off that last one, but I'm doing well over here.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. We're not the show if you have sensitivity issues. We're not the show for you. Okay?
That's why we love you, Big O.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not here to cater to some of you emotional cripples out there. Jesus Christ, some of you, man. It's really sad. But anyway, what do you think about Zach Ertz? Any shot? Because I get the Philly stuff, and now Jacksonville is another one that makes a lot of sense because of Peterson and his offensive coordinator is there too. So that was there with him at Philly. But I would love him here, dude. That would be – it's a no-brainer, no gamble. The money's going to be crap because it's going to be a veteran minimum contract, and you're only renting him for the rest of the year. Is there any shot, or just we're just spitting in the wind, as they say?
Yeah, but every time we do with this team, the Dolphins do sort of incorporate themselves into the mix for all the different whatever top move that is out there. It seems like Chris Greer, this Dolphin staff, a lot of times they don't complicate things. It's like the obvious move that's there. If it's a Tyreek Hill, there's an opportunity to get him. Don't overthink it. Just go for it. If it's Teron Armstead, he's a top left tackle in free agency one offseason, and the Dolphins need a tackle, then yeah, just don't overthink it. Go after him. Bradley Chubb at last year's trade deadline. So sometimes, yeah, this front office does go and make that obvious move that, hey, it would be a slam dunk. This offense needs a tight end, and Zach Ertz is there. He wants to go to a contender. It seems like it lines up. Now then you have to just work out the schematics, the fit, would it be right here? You got to be a blocking tight end first. So Zach Ertz, yeah, can he? And then obviously pass catching, he's done that plenty in his career. So, he would provide a boost in production there. So
I got to tell you something. I don't think the requirement of being an elite blocker right now, or a really good blocker, I don't think that's a requirement at this point in time in the middle of a season where you need a playmaker at that spot. So I think that if I don't know where Zach is as a blocker at this point in his career, because he is a little worn down now and he's had a lot of injuries in his career. So I don't know how good of a blocker he is because I don't watch him all the time. So I'd be lying if I told you. But I'm just saying, if he's not that good, something tells me that for the fill-in purposes of this year, I don't think that's going to be necessarily a requirement. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I hear. And it's a matter of, okay, will they then use him similar to Mike Gesicki before that? Then, will they be able to incorporate Zach Ertz into the offense?
Oh, he's better than Gesicki blocking. That I can tell you.
Even that's not. Yeah, that's a different. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's a void there for a tight end to slide right in. Yeah, you could use production out of it, and then it's a matter of if you are willing to incorporate that into the offense as much as you can. And I think that Mike McDaniel can adjust when you bring in a new guy into a late in the year situation and a talent like Zach Ertz.
All right, so I know in the media sometimes the negativity is used as a nice weapon to stir shit up and to get views and clicks and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes we get a little ridiculous in the media. And so Tyreek Hill's comments and talking about how he feels this Dolphins team is better than the one that he was with KC that won the title. I'm wondering, what do you expect him to say? Like, why are people even jamming on Tyreek at this point for that? What's he supposed to say, dude? He's supposed to feel good about his team. He's supposed to talk up his team. And by the way, he talked up Tua with the accuracy stuff.
Yes.
And in the end, he was 1,000% right. He is incredibly accurate. He might be more accurate than Mahomes. He might be the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. It's something that it can be a discussion when it comes to Tua. You can't argue that he's the best quarterback in the NFL. That's not in the argument right now, but you could actually make the argument that he is the most accurate quarterback or one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL. So if Tyreek wasn't lying about that, why not at least either give him the benefit of the doubt or understand that what's he supposed to do? He's supposed to talk up his team. So why take the negative approach to this? I don't understand that stuff, dude. Explain.
Yeah, well, I don't have that explanation. I'm right there with you. I was going to point to exactly that Tyreek did say similar things that everyone thought was just outlandish in the 2022 offseason about Tua and his accuracy and comparing it to Patrick Mahomes. And then, yeah, I mean, we have seen that. And really, I mean, Tua was known for his accuracy even before that, as much as, okay, yeah, all the numbers in the same way weren't there in previous systems under Brian Flores and the different offensive coordinators. But and, you know, without Tyreek Hill, without Mike McDaniel's system, but you still knew that he had that accuracy, that pocket presence and anticipation. He had all those traits. You already saw that. So Tyreek Hill was just speaking what he was seeing himself in OTAs and at whatever point in the offseason that he said that about Tua. I think they were just working on their own. So, yeah, and I mean, when you look at it on paper, yes, because also now this defense is coming along the same way, and you already have this offense that was number one in the league, top passing offense, number two rushing offense, and sure, you know, hit a little bit of a lull with the turnovers, got to correct some of those things. Every team hits some snags in the road, but now the defense has been number one since week 5, and then even more so since Jalen Ramsey has come into the equation week 8. So, I mean, yeah, just the complete team, and you have to buy in. I know Tyreek Hill maybe says things to an extreme, but he's kind of right. And yeah, you want to see it against a contending team, a winning team. You still haven't seen that yet, but I think this Dolphins team is on track for something like that.
Talking a little bit about Tyreek, and again, this is just like people get, you know. So Wes Welker tells you guys that Tyreek is the best receiver he's been around, and so immediately we go to Randy Moss, and I got to tell you something. Anybody that thinks that's a conversation doesn't really know football. Randy Moss is not half the receiver that Tyreek is. You know that, right?
Ooh.
Yeah. No, I'm telling you. He told you exactly. He runs all routes. I watched Randy Moss, dude. If the ball wasn't coming to him, he didn't run the route. He was as unprofessional as
there was that with him, yeah.
Yeah, you goddamn right that was there with him. And if Tyreek is selling the route even when he's not catching the ball, that's incredibly important. You asked Tua yesterday, day before, whatever it was when he talked, not you, I don't know who the hell it was, but there was a question about Waddle. What did he end up talking about Waddle? He ended up talking about what? His blocking, right?
Yeah.
Right? And so it shows you that there's more to receiving than just running downfield and out jumping everybody. We know Randy Moss could do that. He was fantastic at that. Randy Moss was not going to go across the middle of the field in traffic and take hits. Go see if you see a bunch of those highlights of Randy Moss catching balls in the middle of the field and taking hits. That wasn't his thing. He wasn't going to do that. See, you immediately, when I said that, you went, oh. Because you really didn't watch his entire career the way the way a receiver should play the game. He was an incredible freak. But what I get pissed off at is when people try to put him in the same sentence as Jerry Rice. And Tyreek is way better of a football player than Randy Moss. Randy Moss was an exceptional downfield wide receiver, a freak of a talent. But when it came to playing the position completely the right way, Randy Moss wasn't going to be blocking for you. He wasn't going to be catching stuff in the middle of the field in traffic. He wasn't going to be doing any of that kind of shit for you, dude. That wasn't his game. And if the ball wasn't coming his way, 80% of the time he wouldn't even run a route. He would jog. There are highlights or lowlights of him doing this, all over the place. So these are the things that the media likes to then grab at it but they don't look at all the facts. And that's the part that I get pissed off at. And when Wes Welker says Tyreek's a much better, that's because Wes Welker understands the position, and he understands, one of the things we talked about with what's the name of the fast kid that they signed, the one with the dread? What's his name? Huh? No, not Claypool.
Not Anthony Schwartz.
No, the other kid that they just cut him and brought him back and activated him this past week.
The Chosen,
right? My knock, everybody was freaking out with Chosen. What was my knock with Chosen? He's not a football player. He does one thing. He's not really going across the middle. He's not doing any of that kind of stuff. And so sometimes we get so emotional about something. Oh my God, how does he mention Randy Moss? But we're not really looking at what they actually do as football players. And that's a shame, dude. It really is.
Yeah. No, I mean, that was my reaction when I heard Randy Moss, because you always do think of him as one of those elites.
Numbers.
Numbers. Yeah, I mean, he produced, and now the thing is, his Raiders career, that part is still there. He went to the Raiders, and that didn't go well. It didn't go as planned. And then he went to the Patriots, and then that, even going into it, you didn't know exactly what was going to happen between him and Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. But they corrected him, and then his talents rose to the top again. And obviously, they had the record-setting season, him and Brady, and they went perfect in the regular season before losing in the Super Bowl. But I mean, there are those lowlights. I've seen the film of he's going over the middle, and then he just doesn't even go for the ball, and he's looking at the safety and says, "I'm not taking a hit from you." And that's
not Tyreek,
right?
That's not Tyreek.
Oh, even going back to that first training camp, watching Tyreek Hill, the way he practiced. I mean, that's not even blocking in a game. That's not even, like Allen Iverson talking about practice. He was practicing so hard, every practice, going after it and really running drills to the best of his ability, which I was really amazed at. A superstar player that he had been in the Pro Bowl every year. Yeah, one was as a returner, but then since then was always as a receiver. And he went to a new situation, and he was sort of establishing that this is the way we work to be winners. So that was something I found really impressive when he first got to Miami, and then that was just very telling of his work ethic as such an elite talent.
Let's see. Pat in Nashville has a question for you. Where the hell is it here? What is the illness for the second lineman on the injury report? Hope it isn't a bug that is running through the team.
Yeah, I think he's talking about Lester Cotton. We don't have much information on it, so it's usually not a very specific thing when it comes to just someone has an illness. So he popped up on the injury report just moments ago and was limited in Thursday's practice. So Lester Cotton. Usually, if it's an illness, it's probably something just small. I mean, everyone gets sick, so you don't think it's anything more than that. But if Friday, then all of a sudden he's a non-participant, then that's something to worry about. And then by then you would know if he has a game status too.
What Mike McDaniel, Frank Smith, and Butch Berry have done with the offensive linemen is, I think, the most important thing that's happened on this team, because we've never seen this. We're not even used to watching 5 linemen. They found 5, and now they found guys in the backup, and guys that have, I mean, last week, 4 of your 5 guys are backups, and you're up against one of the best defensive fronts in all of football, and you barely gave up a couple of pressures. I mean, it's just stupid what these coaches are doing, and how the front office finds the talent and how the coaches develop the talent and the backups. We are watching something incredibly impressive with everything that goes on with the structure of the offense, the way they're coaching these guys up, and the way every lineman improves, dude. Every single lineman improves under these guys. I can't say enough about these 3 men and what they've done.
It's so incredible. Just whoever goes into the lineup and at whichever spot, whether it's you started the season, Okay, Kendall Lamb. He was a guy that a journeyman, veteran
Right.
guy that you signed off a practice squad, and he didn't make a team. You signed him to the practice squad first, and then he becomes the first guy that you bring back on the line of free agency. Prioritize him, and you don't know what he's going to do to back up Teron Armstead. And then he's holding it down. All right.
He's a stud.
Right. Yeah. More than holding it down. All of a sudden, you have a Pro Bowl caliber backup left tackle out there.
You better re-sign his ass. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, he brings the most intensity. He is just so fiery. He's the type of guy you love because he is so appreciative of the opportunity he's had, just the journey he's had to get to this point. He's one of those guys that really appreciates every opportunity, and he practices like it and he plays like it when he gets those chances. And another example of how much of a warrior he is, by the way, was bad back. I think he popped up morning of the game on Friday with the injury on the injury report, and then probably a lot of guys. It's okay now that they got to be inactive with what he was dealing with. We saw him kind of laboring on the sideline.
Yeah.
Like rubbing at it, doing everything he could to stay loose. Even warm-ups, he was clearly uncomfortable. And I mean, he was pretty much just active just so that they have their 8 active offensive linemen. A lot of guys would not go into a game in the state that he was. And then he had to go into the game because then Austin Jackson gets ejected, and you have Lesher Cotton was in the injury tent, but he didn't go down. But Teron Armstead, obviously the quadriceps, and just the more shuffling, and he's out there giving you what he can do. Robert Hunt, when he goes out, Connor Williams, Liam Eichenberg steps in. It's really just remarkable. I mean, I feel like we say it every week, but it's because it's true. It's what Frank Smith also at the top of that list, because he worked with those offensive linemen a lot last year.
All of them, man.
Yeah. When
they all have something to do with it. McDaniel has something to do with it. Frank Smith has something to do with it, and obviously Butch Berry has something to do with it. And then of course we have to give credit to Greer, Allen, and McKenzie, because those dudes just continue to find. I pointed out Keon Smith in training camp. Like I said, wow, this is a kid that, and then they kept him on the roster, and I was like, wow, he was one of those guys that I said maybe you keep him because he's so he's raw, but he's talented, and look at him, dude, he's helping you out. It's crazy that they can find Kendall Lamb, and now maybe even Keon might turn out to be a guy that can really help you out. That bodes so well for the future. You know what I'm saying? It's really a positive, dude. God,
yeah. And it makes you feel confident that even going into playoff situations against top pass rushes, that if you have a guy go down, that you can still maintain a similar or equal level of offensive line play, regardless of who's coming in, because they've gotten so many reps in the regular season and effective ones too.
Yep, I'm with you there. What do you think about the Frank Smith stuff?
Just how emotional he got. I was going to mention that too when I brought up Frank Smith. My mind was kind of going there. It's interesting. I mean, because so many people would look at this offense and say, well, that's a byproduct of Mike McDaniel. And that last year, well, Frank Smith, he had to do basically the offensive line coach's job when Matt Applebaum wasn't getting the O-lineman working. So he had to do that. And then now we're seeing the benefits of him just focusing on his offensive coordinator duties. Although, he's not the play caller, Mike McDaniel is. And sure, you can give a lot of the credit to Darrell Bevell on developing Tua Tagovailoa in years 3 and 4 and the strides we've seen him make. But it's really, I mean, it's a collection of all these guys. So sure, as his name is getting thrown out there for the Panthers job or any other vacancies that will come up, and as any coordinator should for producing, being a part of an offense that is ranked this highly across the board, then I mean, it's deservedly so. And some people might point to that he's not the play caller of this offense. Hey, Mike McDaniel in his 1 year as San Francisco 49ers offensive coordinator, he wasn't calling the plays either. It was Kyle Shanahan over there. So, and we've seen how well he has worked in that same situation, and probably a lot of the leadership skills that Frank Smith has probably witnessed from being under Mike McDaniel could transcend into a similar head coaching role with another team.
By the way, bro, things are getting even uglier in Buffalo. Holy crap, the Von Miller story, man. Yeah. Man, if that's true, that guy attacked a pregnant woman? Are you crazy? Like, damn, dude. Boy. If that's true, I would imagine they're going to cut him pretty soon, right?
Ooh,
yeah. right?
Yeah, I mean, if it's true, yeah, I think they got to gather the information for sure and be positive. But boy, I mean, that's a tough one to just shrug off and say, all right, we'll keep you around.
Yeah, no, they're not going to sweep that one under the rug. They
Right.
can't, especially with the season they're having now. Ooh, yeah, no, they can't, bro.
A
They
lot
can't.
of turmoil there. Yeah,
Yeah. That's well, hey, listen, better there than here.
you're right.
Okay, because Patriots, Jets, and Bills, it's all a crap show, and the
Yeah.
Dolphins. Chris Greer, when he took over, he says the dysfunction ends here. He didn't know that he would have to eliminate the owner and Brian Flores before that, but eventually he got it right. The dysfunction is gone now. There is no more dysfunction with the Dolphins, which is pretty cool when we see it in the rest of the division and not in Miami. I love it.
We just got through Thanksgiving. Let me say that I'm very thankful. I'm grateful that I am not covering this Dolphins organization of the past, say,
Yes.
20 years, and that I have jumped on board at this moment. That first year, I was covering the last year of Flores, the transition from that, the lawsuit, and then that was
the last year. That
Yeah.
was the last year of dysfunction, right there.
Right. So I got the crash course there. That's all I need. Then now it's just take me to this Mike McDaniel era. Everything's smooth, everything's fun, everything's lovely, and then all the dysfunction is elsewhere in the division. I'll take it.
By the way, not for nothing, not because I'm a Dolphins fan or anything like that, but I thought this week's episode was one of the best Hard Knock episodes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was a tearjerker. It was emotional. It was really cool because I think people around the league are going to see the Dolphins and unlike the last time that it was a clown show, this time they're going to go, that's a freaking cool place. I want to play there. I want to work there. I think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, this is a scenario that can work to an organization's advantage. I know every fan of every team says, "Oh, I don't want Hard Knocks," but if you have nothing to hide in the organization because the way you operate is the right way, then it really could work to your benefit. I mean, I think people around the league they know how things go within their buildings. And then Hard Knocks, okay, now that opens the doors to everyone getting that to witness it. But then if you were doing things the right way, then yeah, people on the outside can also look and say, wow, okay, they do things a different way there. That's really it steers clear of all the dysfunction that maybe they see wherever they're at. And that Jalen Phillips episode was really touching because it showed you some of the things that you don't see. You did see him on the ground. You could tell it was emotional down there, but you couldn't hear what they were saying. And I mean, just the way he knew right away, and his teammates were trying to tell him, no, that's not what happened. You didn't tear your Achilles. You're going to be all right. But he knew it. And then just obviously the way he was sobbing, facing in the towel, just what it meant. And then the aftermath of then they sat down with him and just that he really appreciated the moment of that whole sideline coming over to check on him. That was touching and you knew it had to be covered after what happened. And now you just hope for the best for Jalen Phillips, who's a great guy.
Let's hope so, man. Follow him on Twitter at David Furones _ and catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. David, as always, thank you, my brother. We will catch up post game on Sunday.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. There you go. David Furones. And when we talk about Welt Rheaume, we love Jeff and Dan. Great people. Jeff is just absolutely amazing. Great music guy, too, by the way. So if you call Jeff and you try to find out if you have a case, because the consultation is free, they'll tell you something happened to you a few months ago, a year ago. Maybe you have a case. Call Jeff Welt. He'll tell you 954-966-4646. Daniel Rheaume, he's a stunt pilot, too, on top of all of that. Not only is he a lawyer, he's a stunt pilot. Seriously. Loops and all kinds of crazy shit. He's going to take me on the plane in a couple months. We're going to do it. And I'm going to take my barf bag. My wife is going to film it so you guys can laugh at me because there is, I guarantee you, we're going to put that on YouTube, by the way. I guarantee you I'm going to be throwing up all over the place. I used to be really good with rides and all that, but as the years have gone on and you get older, you just you don't hold everything in your stomach the way you used to. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to be on a stunt plane in a couple months, and we'll film that, and you guys will get to laugh at me because I deserve it. It is what it is. But please call Welt Rheaume, bankruptcy, criminal defense, condo damage. Oh, criminal defense of Von Miller. Call Welt Rheaume. Business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury, homeowner property damage. You got some water damage, your condo, your townhome, or maybe it was the neighbor that had the water damage and it came into your home. Call Welt Rheaume. They have their own adjusters. Okay? Because the insurance company, you call the insurance company, they send their adjusters, and their adjusters are working for them. They're not looking out for you. You know, on this show, how we look out for all of you. See what I'm saying? Unfortunately, you guys have been all separated. You're all looking out for your own groups. Now, I look out for everybody. And that's what Welt Rheaume does. They look out for everybody. They protect you, the consumer. Welt Rheaume, 954-966-4646.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.